People's Radio United.
I think there's some strategy going on there on the Democratic side of things, because I think they're figuring out what I called, 2 months ago, that Trump is taking the Republican Party past the point of no return, where they are literally, they can't come back from this. And if things continue with Trump at the wheel, there is absolutely no way the Republicans are going to be able to hang on to their congressional majority. It's going to be a purge, because I think a lot of Democrats are just looking at it like, let's just keep giving him enough. We've given him enough rope to hang himself. Let's give him enough rope to hang the whole Republican Party. And I think that's where they're coming from with that, and I think that's why they don't want to impeach.
Well, the thing that confuses me is the Republicans have a majority in the House. So why are half the Democratic caucus voting with the Republicans?
Like I said, I think they're just giving the Republicans enough rope to hang themselves. I mean, the longer this goes on, Trump's approval rating drops. Like 21 Republican congressmen have announced that they're not going to run next year because they know they don't have a chance. They know they're just screwed, and they know it's going to get worse. And I think the Democratic Party is like, hell yeah, let them burn themselves to the ground, because they're running a long-term game, is what I think they're doing.
But yet, any scenario like that is strictly political operations. Nobody gives a flying fuck about the American people, obviously.
Well, of course not. This is going to do such incredible damage to our democracy, to our process. It's going to do so much damage to the American people. Of course they don't care, because have you seen what a congressman makes for salary?
Yeah.
Have you seen? I mean, and then, they have their own political agenda. If the Republicans have fucked themselves so hard in the ass that they're gone, the Dems get control of Congress, and that's big for their political agendas and the interests of the people who are putting money in their pocket, because they're just as bought and sold as the Republicans.
$174,000 a year. That's
base.
The medium near the base.
Well, the thing that gets me is we were talking about the end of days scenario concerning Jerusalem. I think in D.C., I think there's a related but separate end of days campaign going on. It just sounds to me like the Republicans are trying to run the entire federal legislative branch into the ground. It seems to be the same idea.
Well, it may be, there may be, like, you have to look at it and be like, is there some kind of plot among Republicans to just, basically get control of the government and overturn these checks and balances? Maybe. What I do know is, to add to my analysis of what the Democrats are doing with this long-term game, I think they're playing a very dangerous game, because, until about a month ago, I was like, I was looking and I was saying, this has some parallels to like shit Hitler was pulling in Nazi Germany and shit Mussolini pulled and shit Stalin pulled. There were some parallels there, but I wasn't that concerned. I was like, he'll be gone before, any of this can happen. I'm not so sure now. No. I mean, I think the Dems are playing a very dangerous game by letting him go on and letting the Republican Party go on. I think what little remains of our democracy is really, really in danger right now.
Well, and I will say again, because honestly, every time I hear that, my skin crawls. This has never been a democracy, even for any person or any group of people in this country. And this has certainly never been a democracy for people of color, especially black and indigenous people. But I will say this. We've had presidents by the names of George W. Bush, Martin Van Buren, Andrew Jackson, Richard Nixon, Harry Truman. They didn't get kicked out of office. And I think I know most of those people I mentioned got the full 8 years. And in that time, in some of those administrations, you had Congress controlled by the Democrats. In fact, for most of George W. Bush's time in office, it was controlled by Democrats, or at least about half. I can't remember the exact number. But they didn't impeach him. He started a war based on lies, and of course, to avenge his daddy.
And without congressional approval.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He didn't get impeached. Richard Nixon did not get impeached. He wanted to nuke Vietnam. He didn't get impeached.
Right.
So Trump is an idiot. He is horribly racist. Granted, everyone not named Barack Obama is actually, I would say Barack Obama too, because he does not like Native people and has harmed them very deeply. But that's another story. Trump is about as bad a president as you're going to get in modern times, but he's still a white man, and he's still right now he became a politician. He's a Washington politician, and the people who are supposed to get him out are also Washington politicians. Some of which are in his pocket, some of which owe him favors, some of which, and Pelosi, by the way, who was with Schumer going, no, we're not going to meet with you. Yeah, Pelosi voted against impeachment. So I mean, we're expecting classless, heartless people to do the right thing.
Right.
Well, I mean, the issue of the AUMF authorization for use of military force, this is like a 25, 30-year-old statute, and it's been ignored nonstop for most of those 30 years. So, you know, I see people from the American Congress saying any president needs congressional approval for military force. Well, obviously not. We haven't seen that for decades now, but yet American military force is deployed all over the world. So, I mean, it seems to me like Congress has abandoned a lot of their duties long before Trump.
Yeah, they have. But, you know, and I agree with Nolan 110% that we really are a democracy in name only at this point. And, you know, it is certainly even more so the case for people of color and for